There are people in this world who thrive on chaos. They provoke, they manipulate. They test boundaries just to see how far they can push before someone finally breaks. And most of the time, they succeed. Because most people react. They shout back. They explain themselves. They get defensive. They beg to be understood. And every single one of those reactions feeds the toxic person exactly what they wanted. But every so often, they meet someone different, someone who doesn't play the game at all. And something strange happens. The toxic person, the manipulator, the provocateur, quietly backs away. Not because they lost an argument, but because they sensed something they couldn't control. Today we're going to talk about 7 silent behaviors. Behaviors that involve no shouting, no confrontation, no drama at all, yet somehow make toxic people uneasy, even afraid, in the presence of a certain kind of calm. The first behavior is simply not explaining yourself. Toxic people love explanations because explanations are openings. Every time you justify your choices, your boundaries, your silence, you hand them material to twist. A person who has done the inner work reaches a point where they no longer feel the need to defend their decisions to people who were never going to accept them anyway. When you stop explaining, you remove their favorite weapon. They no longer know where to strike because you've given them nothing to grab onto. The second is maintaining steady eye contact without the need to fill silence. Most people find silence unbearable. They rush to fill it with words, with apologies, with small talk, anything to relieve the tension. Toxic people are experts at using that discomfort against you. But someone who is at peace with silence becomes unreadable. Their calm eyes and their willingness to simply wait make it clear. They are not desperate for approval or resolution, and nothing unsettles a manipulator more than realizing the silence doesn't scare you at all. The third behavior is refusing to react instantly. Toxic people study reactions. They provoke specifically to watch how quickly you crack, how fast your face changes, how soon your voice rises. When you train yourself to pause, to take a breath before responding, you take away their timing. They no longer know how to predict you, and an unpredictable target is a target they eventually leave alone, because control requires predictability, and you've stopped supplying it. The fourth is showing quiet indifference to their approval. Most people, even without realizing it, seek some form of validation from those around them, even from people who don't deserve it. Toxic individuals sense this hunger and use it like a leash. But when someone genuinely stops caring what a manipulative person thinks of them, when their sense of worth is no longer tied to that person's opinion, the leash disappears. There is nothing left to pull. This kind of indifference isn't coldness, it's freedom. And it terrifies people who rely on control. The fifth behavior is walking away mid-conversation the moment disrespect begins. Not slamming doors, not raising your voice, just calmly ending the exchange. Most people stay hoping the next sentence will make things better, hoping the conversation will somehow repair itself. But a person who values their peace understands that some conversations are not meant to be finished. They're meant to be exited. When you leave without anger, without drama, simply because you choose peace over conflict, you send a message no manipulation tactic can reach anymore. The sixth is refusing to compete for the last word. Toxic people are addicted to control, and one of their favorite battlegrounds is the final sentence. They need to feel like they won, like they had the last say. Someone who has grown beyond that need can let them have it. not out of weakness, but because they understand that winning an argument with a person who has no intention of growing is not a victory at all. Letting go of the need to be right in front of someone who will never admit fault is one of the most powerful silent statements a person can make. The seventh and final behavior is consistency. Toxic people rely on inconsistency in themselves and in their targets. They expect people to eventually slip, to lower their guard, to return to old patterns of over-explaining, chasing approval, or reacting emotionally. But someone who remains the same today as they were yesterday, calm, boundaried, quietly self-assured, becomes almost impossible to manipulate. There is no crack to widen, because there was never an inconsistency to exploit in the first place. This steady presence, more than any confrontation, is what truly unsettles people who thrive on control. None of these behaviors involve raising your voice. None of them involve revenge, drama, or even direct confrontation. They are quiet, internal shifts, changes in the way a person relates to their own peace and their own boundaries. And that's precisely why they work. Toxic people are trained to handle conflict. They know how to escalate, how to twist words, how to turn a fight in their favor. But they are not trained to handle stillness. They don't know what to do with someone who doesn't need them, doesn't chase them, doesn't explain to them, and doesn't break for them. The real transformation here isn't about learning tactics to use against difficult people. It's about becoming someone who no longer needs tactics at all, because your sense of self is no longer up for negotiation. When you stop seeking approval, stop over-explaining, stop reacting on command, you're not just protecting yourself from one difficult person. You're building a kind of inner steadiness that changes how you move through every relationship in your life. So if you recognized yourself in some of these behaviors, or if you realized you still have work to do in a few of them, that's not a failure. That's simply where you are right now. Growth is never instant. It happens quietly, one boundary at a time, one silence at a time, one moment of walking away instead of explaining yourself. In the end, the most powerful thing you can offer a toxic person is not anger, not revenge, but your calm. Because calm cannot be manipulated, and peace cannot be provoked into chaos. Hold on to that stillness, and you will find that the people who once tried to control you slowly stop trying altogether. If this made you reflect on your own life, consider subscribing for more insights like this, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear which of these 7 behaviors resonated with you the most.